Hi, welcome back to Indigo Smokes Tarot and Astrology. I am Alexis. For the purpose of this channel, I do go by Indigo. This is my first official astrology video, so I'm kind of excited. Since the beginning of the year, I've been doing more studying of astrology. I'm a lifelong astrology enthusiast, but I'm starting to take it more seriously, and I wanted to deepen my knowledge, and so I've kind of been studying astrology. I've been taking a course for the past 2.5, 3 months, give or take. So I'm feeling a little bit more confident in my terminology and in my understanding. I feel like I filled in the holes and the gaps in my knowledge, and I feel ready to at least start sharing on the things that I'm super comfortable with sharing. So this is a reading about the natal placement, moon in Pisces. I'm starting off, like I said, with the aspects of the signs, the aspects, and all of that I'm comfortable with explaining. Okay, so just in case there's someone new that's stumbling across this channel, stumbling across this video, astrology is basically the skill or the art of interpreting the stars, okay, and what those stars and constellations mean for us on a personal level, and what it means for our life and our soul. It's basically like a guide map to you as a person. It talks about astrology can show you your weaknesses, your strengths, your potential, what's holding you back, the karma that you brought in with you from a past life, your sole purpose in this lifetime. Okay, there's so many different ways and valleys, and there's so much depth to astrology, and yeah, that's kind of like what I want to expound on. So I'm going to talk about the placement moon in Pisces. I'll explain what the moon is. I'll explain the energy of Pisces, how these two energies interact together, and how these characteristics and energies and qualities show up in an individual. Okay, I do know that you have a full chart. You have multiple planets and multiple signs with multiple aspects. So never take a placement alone. Okay, you always want to take your placement in conjunction with everything else that is in your chart. But as far as the moon being in Pisces, that's what I will expound on, and just do know that certain aspects, certain things in your chart can minimize or maximize these qualities if you have a moon in Pisces. Okay, so just take what resonates and what leaves the rest, because ultimately it's not going to resonate with everybody, because everybody has a completely different chart. Okay, so astrology, interpreting the stars, and also how those stars reflect energetically in our life, in our soul, in our life purpose, and all of that jazz. The sun, for example, it rules over the ego, our identity. And the moon sign, which is what I'm going to talk about in this particular video, it talks about who you are instinctively, internally, who you are at your core, who you are on a soul level. The moon talks about your mother or your nurturing parent that you grew up with, how you perceive them, how you experience them, your relationship with them, and in a lot of instances how they treated you and nurtured you, and the psychic and emotional residue that left on you that still impacts you to this day, and will continue to impact you most likely throughout the rest of your life, because your moon sign does not change. For the most part, there are some certain things that can make it temporarily change in astrology, but I'm not going to go there because that's confusing for anybody that's new to astrology, so I won't even go there. But the moon sign is, like I said, who you are at your soul, what you need emotionally, what do you need to feel nourished and cared for and loved and fulfilled. It's who you are instinctively that maybe you feel a little bit protective over. Your moon sign is not something that people see upon meeting you, you know. It's something that people know once they get to know you on a personal, intimate level. That's when it comes out. So family, close friends, lovers experience your moon side, so your moon sign. So that's why sometimes people will identify with their moon a little bit more than their sun sign, because your moon sign is who you always see your moon qualities for the most part, unless you have some things going on in your chart that indicate otherwise. For me, for example, when I was younger, I never resonated with my sun sign. I always resonated with Pisces, and even before I got into astrology, I was like, I don't feel like an Aries. I don't feel like that. I felt like a Pisces, and that's because I have moon in Pisces, so I have a more intimate understanding of this placement, and so I'm talking about it. So I'm rambling. Fuck, I have notes here, and yet I'm still rambling. So the moon, our feelings, who we are instinctively, our soul, how we perceive our mother, our relationship with our mother, how we experienced our mother, what we need to feel complete and whole on a soul level, and possibly it can be our shadow side as well, because the moon, it talks about illusions, it talks about things not being seen clearly, so it can go into like the more negative traits, our shadow side, the things that we hide, the aspect of ourselves that we don't publicly just give out to anybody. That's the moon. Okay. What else am I forgetting? No, I feel like that's pretty much it. It's how we feel accepted and loved by others. How do we feel happy? Do we prefer being alone? Do we need a relationship, to feel whole and complete? All of that. That's what the moon talks about. So, going back to... No, I kind of did that already. Okay, so now focusing on Pisces. Pisces energy. So, Pisces energy is ruled by Neptune and the 12th house. Okay. So, yeah, Neptune is an energy that is kind of illusory. Okay, it's very hard to put Neptune into words because words are kind of mercurial. It's ruled by Mercury, things that make sense in the conscious mind. Neptune is like the exact opposite of your conscious mind, what you use on a day-to-day basis. Okay, the Neptune is other realms. It's your subconscious, your unconscious. It's illusions, it's glamour, it's smoke and mirrors, it's your spiritual nirvana, but it can also be in its shadow, like the lowest of the low. Okay, so Neptune 12th house Pisces, it can talk about being at a spiritual and creative high, like just being connected with the ethers and other realms, and just being able to just create and be inspired and empathetic and compassionate. And then on the other end, it can be Neptune, Pisces, 12th house. It can govern people who have mental issues, people who are in prison, in hospitals, and mental asylums, people who are addicted, the tortured soul, the tortured artist, people who just can't get it together, So Neptune covers a wide spectrum of traits, but at its highest, it's like the most beautiful, etheric planet like ever, because it's like the spiritual peak, So I hope that wasn't too rambly, but anyways, Pisces is like, it's the two fish. Okay, two fish going in opposite directions, so there's duality with Pisces. Pisces is probably the most vulnerable water sign. It's Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. Scorpio has a stinger. Cancer has a hard shell to protect its soft insides. But Pisces is a fish. It's just vulnerable. Okay? Vulnerable. Comes off a little ditzy, spacey, not all there. Pisces is the epitome of straddling the fence between reality and the spiritual realm, the other, the hidden realms, all of that, anything spiritual, anything that you can't tangibly touch, but you can feel it, you can know that it's there. That's Pisces, that's Neptune, that's 12th house. So more specifically, to narrow it down, Pisces loves anything spiritual, anything creative. Pisces is very intuitive, very psychic, very impressionable. It can be very naive or gullible. Okay, Pisces energy at its purest is very unassuming, so it's very easy for it to become too passive or become a doormat or be taken advantage of. Okay. What else about Pisces? That duality. So like I said, even though in its high vibration, Pisces is like it's a really beautiful otherworldly energy, because Pisces is also the oldest zodiac sign. It has a little bit of every sign before it within it, so it has a bit of an old soul. It has a wisdom to it that other signs haven't quite mastered. Pisces loves and rules anything in regards to imagination, in regards to sleeping, illusions, imagination, drugs, intuition, spirituality, metaphysics, art, music, painting, drawing, shoes, because Pisces rules the feet. It can also talk about, being very romantic, or being a victim, or using the victim consciousness to manipulate, and it covers such a wide spectrum of things. But Pisces is the feel good, kind of like the feel good sign. It's not really confrontational. It will run away from conflict because it's all about peace and love and happiness and all of that. And at its worst, like I said, it can be that extreme of, the tortured artist, the tortured soul, the addict, the person who's homeless, the person on the street, the person in a mental institution. So there's a wide spectrum here, but I would say that Pisces is probably the most vulnerable and impressionable water sign because it doesn't have a protective shell. It's just open, ready for the taking. So Pisces is ruled by Jupiter and Neptune, and Jupiter is all about expansion, overindulgence, also spirituality and wisdom. And I already talked about what Neptune is. So both of those energies, that expansiveness, Pisces is really good for that, because think of Pisces like the ocean. You can't really contain the ocean. That's where that Jupiter expansion comes into play. And then with Neptune is also kind of watery, kind of misty, kind of foggy. It's really hard to get clarity with Neptunian energy, hence the reason why it's so hard to explain in words. Neptune can cause Pisces to be like overly idealistic or romantic, or seeing things through rose-colored glasses, not seeing reality or people or situations clearly, because there's just this this pink or this idealistic filter over their mind, their emotions. That's why it's so easy for them to kind of fall off the deep end, or for them to be taken advantage of, because like I said, Pisces is kind of straddling two worlds, two realms. It's never fully in one or the other. And Pisces loves to escape. So Pisces needs to find a healthy escape. Okay. Let me see what else. Pisces correlates with anything mystical, anything spiritual, anything psychic. Pisces is psychic and intuitive and daydreamy and spacey. Like I said, escapism, which can talk to drugs and alcohol, but it can also talk to just daydreaming too much. It can also talk about losing yourself in art, losing yourself in creativity, losing yourself in a person, losing yourself in a spiritual path. Pisces just wants to merge, and all of this energy is amplified when this is your moon sign, because this is what you need. You need this Piscean energy. You need this Piscean way of life and being, and you need someone around you to basically understand that and not take advantage of it. Pisces wants to serve and merge and be devoted to someone or something desperately, because there's always going to be a part of Pisces sun, Pisces moon that just doesn't want to be here in reality. Sometimes reality is too harsh or bleak or restrictive for Pisces, and so they seek that escape. It's innate to them. It's like asking why a Pisces wants to escape is like asking why does a Scorpio sting. That's just what it does, So the negatives of Pisces could be self-pity, like I said, victimhood, being passive, being naive, being secretive, addiction prone, easily scared, vulnerable, codependent, not grounded in reality, and not fully tapping into their spirituality or their creativity to use their energy for positive. Pisces has to be really aware of its surroundings and of the people that are around it, because it's a psychic sponge. Pisces sun, Pisces moon can psychically absorb all of the negative vibes without even trying to. Hence why the emotional life of a Pisces, or especially a moon in Pisces, is so tumultuous, because like I said, they don't have that protective barrier around them. They're just open. So they absorb whatever is near them, you know, so they can absorb the habits, good or bad, from their friends, their lovers. That's why it's so crucial for Pisces to protect their energy. A lot of Pisces moons are introverts, needing to have solitude to recharge, refresh, to be able to think and feel clearly. That's something that is so crucial for Moon in Pisces, because it's so easy to get emotionally and psychically and spiritually overwhelmed by other people, even if those people aren't trying to. It happens. It impacts the Pisces person on a very tangible level. Okay. What else am I missing? I feel like I'm getting lost and redundant. So let me go to my notes so that I'm not repeating things. Moon in Pisces, Piscean energy is always going to be very good at anything creative. Okay, this can be music, this can be poetry, this can be dance, this can be acting. Because, like I said, Pisces wants to merge and lose itself in something. It's just a matter of making sure that what Pisces is losing itself in is actually good for it. You know. Let me see. Very sensitive, very easy to hurt. A Pisces moon feelings, their feelings. It's so easy. Like you can hurt a Pisces moon feelings without even being aware of it. Pisces water signs, they feel every single thing. If you could bottle up the ocean inside of a person, you would either get a Pisces or a Cancer. And maybe a little bit more of the Pisces, just because, like I said, that's the last sign. So it's technically the most mature water sign, because it's experienced everything already. And it has the vastness and the uncontainability of the ocean. Okay, Pisces doesn't like restrictions. It's very easy for, like I said, for Pisces to lose itself in emotion, lose itself in people, lose itself in spirituality and creativity and addictions. It's very easy. What else? Most Moon and Pisces are very sweet, very soft-hearted, very giving and generous, understanding, loving, romantic, very, very idealistic, a very active imagination. Like, I feel like people who have dominant Neptune or Pisces energy, they can be so content within their own little bubble, because Pisces is always living in its own world. Okay, and if that Pisces energy can ground itself, it can literally create its own world in the material world. But the Pisces energy can be so content with being within itself that it never blossoms. So that's something to be aware of with this placement. It's typically a very open-minded, understanding individual, possibly to a fault. Like I said, easily overloaded, easily overwhelmed by other people, places, things, situations, energies, because it's so generous and it just wants to help. So it can easily become the victim or the martyr, very self-sacrificing. Like, it's so easy to get caught up in that karmic cycle that the Pisces can easily fall into. That's why they have to be careful of who they're around, because if you are around if a moon in Pisces or a Pisces dominant individual is around a lot of negative, lower vibrational people and energies, not only can that energy kind of pull them down and depress them and overwhelm them, but they can also take on those qualities themselves, because ultimately they can see the people in their circle or the people in their life through rose-colored glasses, and they're not seeing them clearly. So even if that person is like a horrible person, a moon in Pisces or a Pisces dominant individual would be like, no, but they're so sweet to me, they do this, that. Oh, Pisces moon is the type that would make excuses for whoever they love, because they just see the best. They see the best in people. Okay. What else? Pisces moon, it can be dramatic in its worst vibration, but that same dramatic flair is also what can make Pisces very good at being creative, very good at acting, very good at dancing. Okay, it's just a matter of using that drama for something that's not negative. What else? At its worst, Pisces moon could be very passive aggressive, because it doesn't like confrontation. It doesn't. Let me see. The hardest thing for Pisces moon to do is remain grounded in reality. It's very difficult, and I'm speaking from experience with that one. What else? It's very easy for, like I said, a Pisces moon to fall into depression or melancholy or the blues, you know, especially, like I said, if they don't have a healthy outlet, especially if they don't have the right relationships and people around them, especially if they're not spiritual or creative and they're not expressing that. It can just be a downward spiral, so it's very, very crucial for people who have dominant Pisces, Neptune, 12th house energy, or people who have, this moon in Pisces placement. You have to be in a good environment. You have to be surrounded by good people. And if you can't, you have to have some kind of healthy outlet that keeps you balanced. A lot of moon in Pisces or Piscean individuals, they can take on a lot of introvert or sensitive traits. Thus, they need that solitude. They need that time to themselves. Just so they can really tap into themselves, and also so they can clear themselves of other people's energy. Because like I said, other people's energy, this Pisces being a psychic sponge, absorbs that, and then it can't tell the difference between what they feel and then what other people feel. It gets cloudy. So sometimes they have to isolate so that they can tell what's theirs and what's other people's and what they need to clear away. So that's something that Pisces has to do very, very often. Pisces at a soul level is an artist, is creative, is spiritual, okay, is a romantic. Pisces in their lifetime, they're going to be devout to something, because like I said, that want to escape, that want to merge. Pisces is all about vastness and union. Okay, if Pisces is not merging with an addiction, it'll merge with a person. If you're not merging with a person, merge with something spiritual or religious. If it's not that, something creative. That outlet, that healthy outlet, is crucial to whether that Pisces dominant individual or that moon in Pisces placement is used and maximized to its fullest potential. Yeah, kind of lost my thought there, sorry. What else do I have here? Yeah, so it's the last sign, so it's wise, has an old soul quality. I already said that. Oh, Pisces loves to sleep. Pisces moon, Pisces dominant individuals love to sleep. They love to rest. Like I said, they really need it on an emotional, mental, and a spiritual level, because it helps them to rejuvenate. It helps them to recharge themselves. But like I said, Pisces loves to chill. Okay, Pisces is good for that. Has to really work on remaining grounded in reality. Okay. The opposite of Pisces is Virgo, and Virgo is all about details. It's all about the practical, the mundane, reality, order, perfection. So in order for Pisces to remain grounded, it's either going to need that earth-like energy around it in the people, the friends, the lovers, the family members who can provide them with that grounded energy, or Pisces itself is going to have to tap into its opposite, its polar opposite, Virgo, so that it can become grounded and actually manifest things tangibly into their reality via their spirituality or their creativity. That's their mission in life. They have to figure out a way to ground, okay, so that they can be not only of service to themselves but to other people, because ultimately Pisces wants to serve, and so does Virgo, which is why they're sister signs, even though they're opposites. What else is here in my notes? I'll get to the celebrities in a minute. Water signs. This applies to all water signs, but especially Pisces. Being near water, being in nature, works wonders. Okay. For a lot of people who have dominant water energy, especially Pisces, it could be good to go to the ocean or just to be near a body of water. It's very calming, it's very soothing and healing for their energy. All water signs, but especially Pisces, okay? Like I said, because they're so easily overloaded and they don't have any protective barriers around them, Let me see. Positive escape, merge, devoted. Mind you, the moon is fluctuating. It's always changing. It's never exactly the same as when you last seen it. So those fluctuations will also show up in your emotional nature. So a lot of moon and Pisces will experience a lot of highs and lows frequently. It's very easy, like I said earlier, for them to fall into depression or melancholy because they're taking on so many things from other people. But naturally, that moon and that Pisces, there's nothing stable about Pisces, and there's nothing stable about the moon. So when you put them together, you get a lot of instability, and that shows up, that can show up as like a lot of emotional turmoil or mental turmoil. And so this causes moon and Pisces individuals to always kind of be on a roller coaster, which is why they need that outlet, and they need that positive environment so that they can manage those fluctuations a lot better. So yeah, Pisces can literally have crazy mood swings where it's super happy one minute, super sad the next minute, and there's kind of like no in between. What else? Yep, they're a walking contradiction. They absolutely are. Those two fish going in opposite directions. That shadow side, that positive side, feeling one way this minute, feeling one way the next minute. It's like, make a fucking decision. So Pisces can definitely, moon and Pisces can definitely be indecisive. Like I said, they're very much governed by their intuition. They're very much governed by their emotions. And so it can make it very hard for them to not fully function, but also to make the necessary decisions that they need to make, because their feelings are constantly changing, and because they make their decisions based on their feelings and their emotions and their intuition, and those things are constantly fluctuating. It's like they don't really know how to just make a decision and stick to it, or like they have to really try, or there has to be other things in that person's chart to kind of balance it out, or they have to be around the right people to help them to stay focused, yeah, because Pisces is also a mutable sign. Mutable signs are all about versatility and just going with the flow. So sometimes, that can kind of work against Pisces energy. What else do I have here? Okay, so I already got all of my notes out. Celebrities who have this placement, we have Michael Jackson, I believe, Prince, Audrey Hepburn, Robert De Niro, Frank Sinatra. Who else? Martin Luther King Jr. I was surprised about that one. I think Kim Kardashian, and I want to say Kanye West. I believe those two both have moon in Pisces. So once again, these people are very very spacey and emotional and dreamy, and they're off in their own world most of the time. They love to daydream. They do love people, they do love to socialize, but they always need that time to themselves. Like I said, unless you have other dominant energies in your chart that make you naturally more extroverted, like you have a lot of fire energy, then it could vary a little bit. But ultimately, as giving and as generous as they are, they always need that time to be a recluse. And as far as my personal experience with this, it's like, oof. I was a very sensitive child, most likely due to moon and Pisces. I was around so much fire energy shit that my little moon and Pisces self got stepped on a lot as a child. It was crazy. I think my moon and Pisces made me very quiet at a young age. I was very reserved in a lot of instances, and also in a lot of instances I still am. Very private kind of energy, not really liking to be feel exposed. And something that's very strong with this energy. What else did I experience? So in Pisces, my dreams. I've always had crazy dreams. I've always had intuitive, borderline prophetic dreams. Like I've had a lot of instances where I get deja vu. Even my daydreams sometimes turn into visions. I've always dreamed things, and then they'll happen days or weeks later. When I was younger, I didn't really know what to think of it. I grew up in a very Christian household, so I don't remember if I thought it was like bad, but it used to scare me, but now I kind of just go with it. So yeah, Pisces, very psychic, very intuitive, very sensitive, love to daydream, love to dream, and can over romanticize anything and anyone if it loves it enough. What else? It's a very compassionate sign. Very idealistic, maybe too idealistic. Very generous, almost to a fault. Very self-sacrificing. Sometimes not even intentionally. Very spacey, like I said. Pisces is always in their own world. What else? I feel like I'm forgetting something. Your relationship with your mother. So, growing up, someone who has a moon in Pisces, this can play out a few different ways, because it's not only, how you received nurturing from your mother. It's also how you perceived your mother, how you perceived her, how she treated you, how you experienced her, all of that. These are symbols and energies that you're trying to translate into words here. So the interplay of it is kind of endless, but a few things that come to mind with this is like you could have had a mother who was very spiritual as a moon in Pisces, someone who was very spiritual, and or someone who was very devout or self-sacrificing. Maybe someone who sacrificed themselves or their dreams for the family, for the child. Like I said, maybe somebody who was just super spiritual. Also on the lower vibrational aspect, it could have been a mother who was maybe addicted to drugs, or someone who just wasn't really there. Maybe someone, or maybe you could have had like a mother or a nurturing figure that was kind of physically there, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, they were off somewhere else. So kind of like you could be in a room with someone and you're physically there with them, but you feel like they're not there. So that can be kind of the experience with this placement. The mother could have been someone who had mental issues, could have been someone who was addicted to drugs, could have been someone who was super spiritual, could have been somebody who just wasn't the most reliable, or like I said, someone who was just very self-sacrificing. Another way is that this could have been a placement where the moon in Pisces individual had to mother and nurture their own parent at a young age, and so now, that kind of emotional and psychic residue still is with them, and so you can basically take that energy with you into adulthood and overly cater to and nurture other people to your own detriment. So definitely with moon in Pisces, you could have had a mother who you had to be a mother towards, even as a child, just because, like I said, that moon in Pisces is like somewhere else for whatever reason, whether it's due to spirituality, drugs, circumstances, somehow, some way, maybe the moon in Pisces mother was there but not there, or was unavailable in some way for whatever reason. What else? But on the flip side, this is a placement where you have a very strong connection and a very deep and strong love for your mother, in a higher vibration, with this being how the mother treated the child. Very nurturing, very sweet, very catering, understanding, flexible. This wouldn't be a conventional parent by any means. Super supportive, super loving, super understanding. Maybe even having a psychic connection between the mother and the child, or the child and the nurturing parent. Like a psychic connection there. Just an understanding that didn't really need to be verbalized. Both from the mother to the child and from the child to the mother. It was just an understanding that was there. Pisces, you don't have to verbalize things with a Pisces necessarily. They can just feel it, So, for example, like in the instance of a child being the one to mother and nurture the parent, the mother, this would be like, it wasn't official, but the moon in Pisces child just sensed that the mother needed a hug, or the mother needed, a pep talk, or anything like that. Just Pisces picks up on it, and they just act on it, and they just do it, and they just are whatever they need to be for whoever they love, especially the mother, because that's where it all starts. What else? Okay, I'm starting to feel like this is forced, so I'm probably gonna end it here if I can't come up with anything else, and I'll just do a part 2 if I have some more ideas, but I feel like that pretty much covers it. Yeah, I named the celebrities who had it, the main characteristics, the upsides, the downsides. what Pisces needs to stay balanced. I covered that. Yes, Pisces can be a spiritual and a creative genius, but they have to remain grounded. So crucial. Otherwise, they just swim off, or they float off to another realm and have no interest in reality. So, yes, I think that is it. I hope that this made sense. If you have a moon in Pisces, I hope that you were able to resonate with this. If I have any more ideas, I will do a part 2 to the moon in Pisces. But until then, I've enjoyed this video. I hope you've enjoyed it too. I will most likely be doing more astrology videos talking about placements that I'm already familiar with between myself, my research, and just the people who I'm around and whose charts I've looked at. I'm just starting there. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.